Hello there, my name is Combeferre, and, my friend Angeris told me that he wanted me to make a video to introduce myself to the world, because as his second in command and his right-hand man or whatever, I think he's been listening to too much Hamilton, but regardless, he wants people to know who I am so that when his name is famous, mine might be too. So I've decided to make a video for all of you. This is the top 10 books to read before you die. These are probably the best books in the world, but you don't have to take my word for it. Except you do, because I'm the only one here. Okay, number 1. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book is so good. It's about a guy Jacob, who finds a house with a bunch of really weird kids in it. And that's it. Well, there's more, obviously. It's really good. And they're making a movie with Asa Butterfield, who some of you may know from Hugo or Ender's Game, or other great movies and books, actually. But regardless, you don't want to be the one lame loser who's left behind, like I was on the whole Hunger Games thing and the whole Maze Runner thing, despite the fact that I read more than anyone. So read this book. Get with the times. Alright, number 2. This is 3 Cups of Deceit by Jon Krakauer, which is dramatic as all hell. It's basically a book. Well, first of all, read 3 Cups of Tea by Greg Mortensen, but you don't have to. I only read it after I read this one. This book is talking about how the guy who wrote 3 Cups of Tea is a huge liar. So if you like scandal, this is like picking up a People magazine, but you look a lot smarter doing it. I read People magazine. That wasn't meant to be a slam. Anyway, Jon Krakauer, 3 Cups of Deceit. He also wrote books like Into the Wild, Into Thin Air. Those are the only 2 I can remember. But they're really good. So read Jon Krakauer, because you'll look smart and they're fun. Number 3. A Separate Piece by John Knowles. Now my copy, as you can see, is a little roughed up. But that's just because I've read it so dang many times. If you like stories about gay schoolboys who live in World War II, it doesn't explicitly say they're gay, but you know what? We all know. We all know. In the same way that we all have our faves. My faves are Jean and Finney from A Separate Piece. In the original draft, supposedly there was a real explicit gay sex scene, but they cut it out because it wasn't the right time. The world wasn't ready for the Jean and Finney fanfic written by John Knowles himself. But it's a really good book, and it's about boys in World War II at a boarding school. It's kind of got a Dead Poets Society feel. If you like Dead Poets Society and you like gay kids and you like reading, read A Separate Piece, because it's a gem. Number 3, The Wasteland and Other Poems. I'm a huge old nerd, and you can't see it in this light really. Oh, you can. I highlight all of my books. And I especially highlighted this one. If you like Cats the Musical, here's a little stanza from the song Memory. This is Wasteland and Other Poems by T.S. Eliot. My favorite are the preludes, but your favorite can be just about anything you want. That's what's wonderful about poetry and collection books. Because in this one, you have to just like the whole book, but in this one, you can like bits and pieces, and it's educate yourself on poetry, and if you're gonna, instead of getting all depressed with Edgar Allan Poe or whatever, just read T.S. Eliot, and you'll probably get a lot more of the references in A Series of Unfortunate Events if you read this as well. Number 5. Gregory Maguire's After Alice. Did you like the book Wicked? Do you like the musical Wicked? Well, this guy wrote the book that the musical is based on. He also wrote Son of a Witch, which I have back here, I think. Look, there it is, but I don't like Son of a Witch as much as I like After Alice, which is about, you guessed it, Alice in Wonderland. It's a book that's basically, I know from this it looks like I haven't read any of it, but this is just like my millionth time going through it, because it's so good. It's all about Alice in Wonderland, and it's got the same weird eclectic spin that Wicked does, but it's a lot shorter, so you don't have to read like 70 billion pages, which, you know what, I love to read, and sometimes I just want to read something that's not a million pages. And if you want that, and you want some fairy tales with a twist, read After Alice by Gregory Maguire, and keep up with your musical theater knowledge. Number 6, Very Good Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. I always want to say P.J., but it's P.G., and he is a gem. This is basically a collection of short stories about a guy named Jeeves who is a butler, and doesn't sound very good from that. But if you want some real charming British humor, some like Fry and Laurie type jest, but you want it in a book instead of on TV, because who has the time to watch TV? But everyone has the time to read 11 short stories by Sir Pelham Grenville Wodehouse. My argument for this is that it's really funny, it's really good, and if you want to sound like the type of person who watches Fry and Laurie, but you'd rather seem smart, like you're too good for TV, read this. Even if you're not too good for TV. I read this in my dorm room when I had no friends, and it was a very enjoyable time. Number 7. Have you ever wanted to not read a book? You want to read something, but a book is just so dang long. Maybe try a script. My favorite is Cock. It's really good. You should read it. Now, it's about a guy who's dealing with bisexuality, which is cool. And it's written in a really weird way, so it has a lot of like weird pauses, and it looks beautiful, and it's way easier on the eyes than any dumb old book. Just kidding, I love books, but you should read Cock by Mike Bartlett. If you need any other scripts, come to my house and borrow them. Just kidding, don't come to my house. My next book, number 8, is The Skeleton Crew by Deborah Halber, sorry. This book is about amateur sleuths. Did you know that there are like a bajillion dead bodies that aren't identified? Well, you know what people are doing? They're turning to the internet, and they're going on forums, and they're finding out who these dead people are. And if you want to read all about how that works, and how some dead people have actually, their identities have been found, and they've been laid to rest properly, but I really want to be an amateur sleuth after reading this, to be honest, so just be prepared to, like, want to change your life and find dead people's identities, but read The Skeleton Crew. It looks like a very intelligent book to read, and it is, and it's very enjoyable, and it has a lot of weird anecdotes about dead bodies, so if that's something that interests you, I know it's something that interests me, check it out. Number 9, 13 Reasons Why, by Jay Asher. I think it's his only book. If not, it's definitely his first book. But it's one of my favorite books in the world. To prove it, check that out. Signed by the author, which is super cool. Anyway, 13 Reasons Why. It deals with suicide, but it deals with it in a very interesting and fresh way. As a teenager, I read this when I was 13, and as someone with depression, I really felt like this book got me more than other books. It's about a girl named Hannah Baker who kills herself, and she passes around 13 tapes, well, 7 tapes that have 13 sides on them that are the 13 reasons why she decided to do it. And she passes them around to the 13 people who are the reasons why. Well, she doesn't, but it's hard to explain. It's a very good book, and it deals with audio tapes, which is such an outdated form of communication. It's like a little history lesson mixed with some really, really great talk about why people feel suicidal and how our actions affect other people. So it's a little bit heavy, but it's an important read, and everyone should read it. And they were gonna make a movie of it with Selena Gomez, and I'm just really glad that they didn't. Every day, sometimes I just look up into the sky, and I'm just thankful that they didn't make this into a Selena Gomez movie. 13 Reasons Why. And my final book on the list, although I have a lot more, is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Can you see that? Gone Girl. Okay, so first of all, this is another one. It's a movie. Go out and see the movie, but not before you read this behemoth of a book. Gillian Flynn wrote the screenplay for the movie, and I gotta admit, I saw the movie first. But, you know what I said? I said, this movie was so good, I'm gonna read it too. And the book is amazing, and it's got a strong female character. And the movie stars Ben Affleck, and the book radiates Ben Affleck, which is actually a good thing. I know that it seems like maybe not the best, but it actually is a good thing. Anyway, Gone Girl. Read it, live it, love it. Read the cool girl monologue on what I think is page 299. Read it, live it, love it, and just become addicted to it. Because, yeah, it is on 299. You know what? That's how often I've read this book. Anyway, read it. Because it's so amazing. And I'm not saying I want to kill people after reading this book. I'm just saying that the book makes it look pretty cool. And hey, if I did, then someone could sleuth me out if they read The Skeleton Crew. Anyway, those are my top 10 books that you gotta read before you die. I'm Combeferre.